Right, good afternoon. So today we're sorting out artifacts. So yeah, I had a big Eureka moment. So it was annoying last stream when I got to drawing these artifacts that I was like, I'm still not sure. And anyone who's been watching the stream for a while, you'll know that I keep getting lost in the weeds completely thinking about artifacts and how I should do them. There's this school of thought which is let's have all of them, any one you can think of, and let's just have a few specific ones that are quite themed. And what I've gone for is very much leaning very much into the former, with let's have basically infinite outcomes, and let's automatically generate them, procs and outcomes. I mean, so we're going to have lots and lots of artifacts, and I'm not going to draw and describe each one. We're going to tidy it, so we won't even need most of this, right? So we do one called Generate Artifacts. Let me just go through what the plan is then. So artifacts should be fully dynamic. So we're going to have basically near infinite artifacts outcomes, basically. They should be automatically generated with procs and outcomes. So you take for each proc, make an artifact that has an outcome for each one. And then basically calculate what the likelihood should be based on the perceived power of the outcome and the likelihood of the proc, basically. So if the proc is something that happens all the time, then the outcome should be less likely, right? And if the outcome is really, really, really good, then the outcome should be less likely, because otherwise it's overpowered. So it should automatically balance itself. And then we'll just need to decide, okay, what power does this... So someone might say, well, actually, critical procs are actually too good. They happen too often. Critical builds are OP. So in that case, what we do is we just reduce the perceived likelihood of we increase the perceived likelihood of the crit proc, and then that should mean that the chances of any crit proc or crit artifact would be very, very low. With me so far? So artifacts, it's a proc and an outcome. It's you do something like you do a crit, or one of your units dies, or you kill an enemy, and you get an outcome which could be heal for a bit, or explode, or gain some armor, or reset your weapons or something. And basically, instead of just having each of these that have so far been just like making each and every one, we're just going to generate them kind of automatically based on the procs and outcomes we have. So of course, some will have to be incompatible with others. So each proc's going to have a blacklist, basically, and each outcome would have a blacklist. So if it's something that's intended to happen, like on death, if a unit dies, we don't really store the killer, so it's like the outcome can't be heal, right? Because that would heal the killer, or that would end up like healing the unit that's dying, basically. So there's some that will be incompatible with each other. Another thing I wanted to think about is getting rid of ones like I only want ones that are relevant to each other. So for example, like critical reset, for example. Reset means it reduces the cooldowns of all of your weapons to 0. I kind of want to say it's a strong design choice. Like, while that's fun, it's more fun if it can lead into another artifact or lead into another playstyle. So if it's critical, then get mana, that's better, because mana can then lead into something else. That's the thing I really like about this system. It's like critical mana would increase the amount of mana I get, and then I would have another artifact which procs whenever I do an ultimate, right? And then I might have the talents associated with getting mana and doing a stronger ultimate, which would be that's great synergy, basically. And I want to encourage that. Reset is fun, but reset doesn't lead into anything. So if I crit, now all my weapon cooldowns have reset, okay, that's a great outcome, but it doesn't actually lead into another outcome. And I want it to be like, I want it to lead into each other. So, and that actually includes the idea of actually making certain outcomes or certain artifacts more likely depending on the artifacts that you've already got. So it would make the outcome. So if you've got critical mana, it would make ultimate artifacts more likely or even mandatory. That's like, okay, now every time you do an ultimate, you'll summon a few units or heal everyone in your army or something like that. So it's like almost it's helping you along to create those really crazy synergies, like critical mana and then ultimate buff. And so I'm doing my ultimate all the time because I'm getting mana, and then I'm doing my buffing my units, and then I would have something like buff heal, which is anytime a unit gets buffed, it gets healed too. So I think this is the way to do it. I think this is fun. And that's the design philosophy there. So yeah, no outcome. Doesn't matter how. So like, for example, explosion was a cool idea for an outcome, but again, it has no synergy with anything else, right? So I'm probably going to cut that as an outcome. So yeah, cut, reset, explosion, or any that don't chain into another artifact. And then of course it's the weapons, allies and talents that you choose which will make it. So for example, if you get a critical artifact, you're going to want to pick the dagger so that you're doing crits, and you're going to be wanting to pick the rogue because the rogue has a dagger, and you're going to be of course wanting to pick the critical hit talent, which just flatly raises your army's critical hit. So I really like the way these all I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. So yeah, what did I miss? Artifact power. So yeah, here's the other thing. So we automatically generate the chance of the outcome, or chance of the artifact, like the chance of it happening, by measuring the likelihood and the power. So I'll have to come up with some clever maths. I don't know exactly what the formula would be, but it's basically like, as I explained, high power means low likelihood. It means confusing likelihood with chance. High power means low chance. High likelihood also means low chance. So that it's balanced. But then you could also increase the power. So we could say you've rolled common, so we might do rarity levels. So like a legendary one just flatly increases whatever the chance outcome is by like 50% or something. Just makes it a bit stronger, which I just think will be fun. It's fun to have rarities. It's fun to have like, oh, here's a legendary one. I should pick that and make that my build. Or here's a legendary one that has nothing to do with my build, but a common one that has everything to do with my build. I'm going to be smart and pick the common one, which maybe feels bad, but I think that just creates a meaningful choice for the player. It works well in games like Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, Deep Rock Survivor, where, yeah, there's a lot of rarities happening, but often it is better to just pick the one that synergizes with your build better rather than just auto-picking the most rare item that dropped. So we roll. So that's how we end up with near infinite amounts, because we can adjust the power of the artifact and make some just plainly better than others. And then we've got all of the or most of the outcomes that we have, most of the procs that we have, multiply that by each other. That gives you the amount of artifacts you have, and then multiply that again by how many rarities we can have. So we've got a ridiculous amount, which would be a fun note for the trailer maybe. Hey, Bone Circuit, thanks for joining again. Start everything buffed out, maxed out, in the final level is where you... Yeah, that's basically what I've done. So with the artifacts, like, yeah, this will be something that's flatly in the game. The main thing that changes is at the end of the game, you get an artifact at the beginning. And I think I might lock some artifacts. And again, with this power thing, we can actually make it so that you can upgrade the artifacts. So, it means you can upgrade the artifacts. So it's like, oh, I can upgrade all of my artifact power or any that have to do with this proc, and it creates more space for leveling up, which could be fun. It's not really in the current design yet, but yeah, we could have one that just flatly raises the power of all artifacts. just as a place to go. And yeah, what I've got at the moment is, and what I've been testing with, is a version of the game where everything is unlocked basically, and it's going to be really, so you've got, I think, like 10 different characters, 10 different, or 20 if you include the combos, 10 different weapons, 10 different talents, and it's going to be really interesting to put the player at the beginning of the game before they've unlocked this stuff. So they'll probably start out with just soldier and ranger. And is that even going to be fun? It's going to feel really bare bones, but I think that's part of the fun of playing a game, is unlocking things. So while it feels strange to just put the player in with soldiers and archers, it feels a bit bare bones. I think it will be fun. Yeah, it would be fun to, you know, be like, oh, what should I unlock next? Should I pick the mage? Should I pick the priest? Which is the most important to me? Which do I think is the most essential component of an army? So that should be fun. So yeah, so there should be 0 artifacts, which are just improves this. So there were some before, like, oh, improves melee attacks, but like, no. The design philosophy is only artifacts that connect with each other. That's going to be the rule. And then yeah, I'm just kind of writing prompts for myself for like how some of the wackier artifacts I've done could be factored in. So you could have a proc which is burning death, which is if I die while I'm on fire, which is fairly specific, and that one can only be linked with outcomes which make sense to that. So explode, or I don't know. Yeah, I guess it could be like if a burning enemy dies, it can buff all of your units. We'll see. And then yeah, armored attack is like, this is one of my favorites. And again, I need to think about this a lot in terms of the philosophy of it. I really like the idea of, and I love it in games like Slay the Spire, where you have, or Hearthstone, where you have attacks which are increased by the amount of armor that you have. I just think that's really cool. I just find that really fun. Like, get your armor as high as possible and then hit your enemy with it. It's just very satisfying. That doesn't really link with my everything has to link together philosophy, though. It's an outcome of armor. But I would rather have, like, when armor breaks, heal units by the amount of armor lost, or heal units by max armor. Heal everyone around you by the max armor of the character. So that's a specific outcome, like outcome heal units by max armor. I need to think about that. And then yeah, I just realized I had no outcome which was get armor, like healing, but for armor basically. So just put that there, and then yeah, cut, reset, chain, and explosion. So without further ado, it's healthy for me to talk through it. Helps me understand it better and makes me see is this a good idea or not. And it's like, yeah, I think we can dynamically generate artifacts, and for absolute edge cases, we can still do that within that system. So I'm just gonna like keep this all in here and make a wait, so it would be out of this bit. So we've got artifact. Where do I store the actual artifact itself? Okay, down here. Okay, let's keep this together then. So public class, and so this is no longer an enum. I'm just wondering if I should keep this, but yeah, public class artifact proc. Yeah, then we do brackets, and of course, yeah, it's got names, descriptions, sprites. I guess it might have unlocked. It doesn't have rarity by itself. Chance as an outcome. So blank artifact. Yeah, we'll leave that for now. And then we say, yeah, the proc value is basically public bool floats. Proc value is like, so the proc has a likelihood, and I'll stick with what I had there. How likely is this to happen? And I guess the default would be 1, let's say, for now. Player double, yeah, let's see about that. And excluded factions, yeah, so it would also have a blacklist, public. Yeah, I guess all of them would have a faction blacklist, maybe. Let's leave that for now. Public, because there's like ones like on resurrect, which obviously could only happen for the undead faction. So yeah, I guess we would have excluded factions. And we would also have excluded outcomes. And hopefully I haven't missed anything there, but that should do for now. So that's an artifact proc, but so then we need to get rid of this. Okay, let's go ahead. So we're kind of jumping around the place a bit, but let's go ahead and list these outcomes then. So we'll go public proc, also procs, not outcomes, proc. Actually, it's an artifact proc, artifact proc. And then I'll just hold on. Wait, what I wanted was to have this nearby so I can copy it. Just to get this out of the way, just so we're not losing any data, basically. So we bring that up here. Yeah. So critical. And so I just want to copy these out, basically. So can I just... Could I do some, like, clever regex expression, maybe? I don't know. Let's just copy this. I'm just going to do it the long way. The long way that doesn't... I'm going to work hard instead of smart right now. I'm going to do it like this. Just so we don't lose any of it. Some of these might change. Some of these might be, like, a bit wrong. Like I said, we're going to get rid of some of them, but let's just, for now, switch off our brain and use hands instead to get thing done. Save that brain, that clever working smart instead of hard energy for when we need it, or indeed when we have it. Because I'm not sure we do right now. Okay. Right, so that's a bunch of artifact procs. And of course we would have a list. Fact proc. All... I mean, we could just call this procs. Because in the context of being in the artifacts script, we could just call it a proc. There's no other such proc, but you know. Trying at least a little bit to stick to good conventions. Right, so... each of these is going to come with a sprite, but I am going to bring that from my sprites list because I think that's a better way to do things, right? So, critical, yeah, engage brain, come on. Right, so, generate artifact. So that becomes done for each, and we're doing for each artifact proc and proc, so now we just need to do the same for outcomes. Basically, so I'll do this up here. We need to make actually, yeah, let's keep this for a second. Public class artifact outcome, and then we do the same basically. In fact, I'm gonna copy this because it's gonna be mostly the same. Unlocked, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna lock any of them yet, but you know, doesn't hurt to have that. And then instead of likelihood, we have like value or power. I think value makes more sense. And the value again can default to 1. Might change that later. And then excluded procs, because I guess the blacklist could work both ways. I'm not sure. And then excluded factions as well. So we can really dynamically produce artifacts based on, you know, based on what's going on. Okay, so then we have artifact outcome. So we'll take this again. And now we just want to like list them out. Public list artifact outcome. List artifact. Okay. And then we'll just go again. Public artifact outcome. Let's start with extra. No, I mean extra. No, let's just start with summon. Let's start from down there. Oh, and I think I actually want... Yeah, just so it doesn't believe itself to be null. Come on, it's engaged brain today. I spent the morning doing freelance work, so I've already kind of burnt a lot of my programming energy, but I was thinking about this all weekend, so I kind of know what I'm doing. Okay, yeah, so we need that. Artifact outcome summon equals new artifact. And we're going to need a couple dozen of these. Summon, summoner. Differences. One is summon. Other one is an item summoner, which is like, I think, quite fun to drop the item that does the thing instead of just doing the thing sometimes, and then it makes it, which I'm not sure about, because the thing is that makes yeah, so buff the input. I think buffed for the input. It can't be the same name. And then, yeah, we've got explosion, but we're probably not going to keep explosion. And then, oh, we did have an artifact outcome for armor. Okay. Oh, yeah, we did. So I didn't forget that. Okay. So then we got those, and I'll just comment it out a bit so it looks a bit tidier. And then we can delete this. We've at least got most of them. I just wanted to keep that data. And then basically the mad thing that we're going to do is we're going to be deleting. In fact, let's go ahead and do it. Deep breath. Delete this. Okay. This also will be put in, and this isn't like super accurate. Although it wouldn't hurt to keep it, I guess. Okay, so dice. Okay, yeah, dice is just a reused float so that we're not making a new one each time. I don't know if that makes any difference on the garbage collector, but... And then the mad thing that we're going to do is... actually delete all of this. There's lots of information that I've written down, but... yeah, I think it has to go. Okay, so then artifact proc equals... So what do we call these? Artifact proc is null to begin with. So I think if we just leave that, it should just start off as null. Nice and tidy. And then... yeah. So basically, yeah, the big scary thing that we're going to do is we're going to delete this. That's definitely like take a deep breath and delete it. Like, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment it out. I'm going to bracket it all up so I can like hide it all and comment it out. And this as well, I think. I think this is now redundant. That was I never finished it. I wanted to try and write the descriptions sort of automatically. But basically, we take all of this and we say... So we comment out... Yeah, we'll comment out all of this. I don't know if we can really do that. I'm just going to put this into old start. So it's there and it's compiled, it just doesn't happen. Actually, yeah, we'll have to comment all of that out. Just wanted to, so... Yeah, let's do it like this then. And we'll delete it once we're sort of... It's just really, really scary to delete so many lines of code that are not like randomly placed. Like the chances have been fairly fine-tuned as I've been playing through and balancing the game and so on. And there's a lot of lines of code. But yeah, basically if I can just... Does that comment it all out? And then hopefully I can just hide it. And it's gone. This also belongs in there. Just keeping it in case maybe I need it. Oh god, this can take forever to scroll through, so just do it manually. And just pop that in there as well and comment it all out. Yeah, I could, yeah. Yeah, I'm a bit of a Luddite with stuff like that. Like, I should have, like, GitHub and just delete things, not worry about it, and I can just know that I can always get it back later. But instead I do it in this kind of funky, hacky way. Did that not end up? I thought that was supposed to have ended up in the old script. Never mind. So this is taking some time, penalizing me for my stubbornness and my Ludditery. But yeah, I suppose we can just pop this at the top so that we don't... Doesn't make a difference. Probably going to delete that. I'll do a backup fairly soon. Yeah. And then, so old start, yeah, that was something I just made. Get artifact. Well, that doesn't really apply anymore, but we'll just leave that there for now. Run artifact outcome. I'm going to be doing some modifications to this, but basically it's still intact. I want to get on with making this generate artifact. So for each proc in proc, so for each of the procs I have, and for each of the outcomes that I have, we make a new artifact. I think that's how we do it, right? Yeah, yeah. And then new artifact.proc equals proc. Yeah, and outcome equals outcome. But let's do... first of all, we can say if proc dot excluded outcomes is equal to outcome dot names 0. No, dot contains then don't do it if it's that. So if it's not on the blacklist, and then we want to do that in reverse. So it would be like if out. So it's basically the same. If outcome dot excluded procs dot contains proc dot names, then yeah, so if we're checking, we're removing excluded outcomes and we're removing excluded procs from the outcome. Okay, good. And then we make a new artifact. We set the proc to the proc, the outcome to the outcome. Then we generate the name. So both passes, yeah. Yeah, if I have a copy somewhere, I mean, the likelihood is I won't keep it, but just in case I ever really needed something. In this case, it is just because it's scary to delete that much work, you know? But if it's no longer relevant, it's no longer relevant. Okay, generate name. So this would be new, and so with the name of the proc, because it would be like the proc is holy, the outcome is summon. Yeah, I think so. We really do just plaster the names onto each other. So it'd be killer, reset, buffed, buff, that wouldn't exist. Buffed mana, flaming mana, you know, yeah, so that those will work. New artifact dot names. But we'll have to do this in each language. I'll see if I can get like I'll get to that later. Equals. In fact, at the beginning, new artifact dot names dot clear. Okay, and then we will go ahead and write the switch case just so that it's and we go case 0. And we say or would we want to like make it in each language? I think we do want to make it in each language. So actually it's a for each. No, we don't have a list of languages. While int L for language equals 0. I know how should I do it? While L it's less than, I think it's like the number of languages we have, which should be stored, but it's not. The next time I make a game, I'm gonna use JSON stuff because I've been doing it my own way, but apparently there's like a more standardized way, but this is my way of doing it. And different silos. What do you mean as one entity? Like, I'm not sure what you mean there. Write code for talents. Different silos. Because I think I might already be there with that. Artifacts is a different thing, but talents, characters, and weapons, they're all called upgrade. They're all parts of an upgrade. Yeah, so I just want to go the English version. Yeah, how do I do this? Because I want to do like a for each case, but we don't have a list of languages. We just have each language is associated with an int. I guess we just add each version. We just go new artifact names add, and then we can just put the string in here. Proc.names plus space proc.outcomes .outcome. Oh no. Outcome.name. For God's sake. Outcome.name. Okay. And I think it's going to be mostly similar, but I imagine in like Japanese you wouldn't have it wouldn't be like it might even be reversed, so you would do the outcome first and the proc after, for example, but that's fine for and then other languages. Okay, and then so the description of the artifact I might forego entirely, because basically when you present an artifact, what I'm going to do is show the proc and the outcome and kind of write them out, and then players can put them together, so we don't have to worry about the weird sort of grammar around that. So the artifact itself doesn't have a description. Okay. And the artifact also doesn't have a sprite. And I suppose we can't really save if it's unlocked or not anyway. I guess we would give it a rarity at some point, maybe, but we'll see. So, because a lot of that information is going to be displayed as a combination of the proc and the outcome. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, does this to what? But yeah, yeah, I think I might be ahead of you on that one. So we have an upgrade. Like, I don't know if I've done it too clean. In fact, I know I haven't done it cleanly as I should. But it's like you have an upgrade, and the upgrade has attached to it a weapon, a character, which would be like the ally that you unlock by having this upgrade, and all that kind of stuff. So everything kind of exists within upgrade. Although in this case you'll see weird stuff like is weapon, and basically if the weapon is null, I could have had like type. That probably would have been cleaner, just like an int or a string called type. But instead I just gave the weapon, if it has a weapon attached, the weapon can be null, in which case it's not a weapon. It can have an ally attached. If it's null, then it's not a weapon. It's not an ally. And if both of these are null, then it is a talent, and it's weird to read it as a talent. So yeah, fairly interesting. Right. So we generate the name. The description we'll get to. That's going to be more complicated when we present the UI for the object. So, but that's later. Generate a name. And then we do the funky maths to generate the chance. So I guess we're finally there. This is the bit I was dreading a little bit, because this is going to be mathsy. So yeah, we'll deal with rarity and stuff later. This is now stored within the proc. This is now stored within the outcome. This player double, I can bring it back once I realize what it's for, and then excluded factions again would be contained within the other bits. So the artifact itself becomes quite simple. It's just these bits. So generate chance. Let's just make a fresh float. Chance equals yeah, all talents and racial abilities could be inherited by spell use from item. Yeah. I do a funny thing, which is probably not best practice, but like all stat bonuses that come from like come from outside like the core character stats is counted as a buff, and we use the same system that we use for buffing characters as we do for upgrading their stats. But I'm not saying that's the best way to do it, but that's worked out fairly well, because it just means it's easy to get like a fully reset character, and yeah, it's just using the same code to add stats. Okay, so chance equals, and you're going to be shocked at how bad I am at maths, but it's proc dot value, no, dot likelihood divided by outcome dot value. I know this bit is correct and this bit is correct, but what goes here? So a high likelihood should reduce the chance. So it would be like, if the likelihood is 2 and the value of the outcome is 1, then there's a 50% chance for it to happen. I guess like you would start with a base chance. Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there's another interesting one I've done there where a magic attack is actually the same as a melee attack. It's just a melee attack is a very close range, sort of high AoE. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of figured out how I want to do that for future projects, and I've got something that works for this. But yeah, so the proc likelihood. So if we have a high likelihood, so let's say 10 divided by 1, and again, 10 divided by 1, I'm pretty sure that's 0.1, but 10 divided by 1 equals, 10 of course, yeah. So what am I thinking? So this value should be between 0 and 1? No, it'd be like 10. See, I really am bad at maths. Huh. So you mean so like a passive actually counts as a spell? Yeah, I think I might have lost you there a bit. So yeah, absolute brainlit moment for me in terms of so we have a high likelihood. So like 1 divided by 1 is 1. 1 divided by 10 is 0.1 because so we've got a higher value thing, right? But then if we have a high likelihood, we should also want to have a lower number. So 10 divided by 1 equals 10. So we said 10, but 2 divided by 1 is 2. Sorry, I'm... So yeah, we would have a thing here, proc likelihood, that basically like the likelier it is... No, the more likely it is, the lower chance it should be. But if you divide... Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not sure how that applies to this one, but yeah, it's nice to make things work like that. Like yeah, like I've done with the buffs. It's like a permanent stat boost is just a buff that doesn't have a time, or that doesn't tick down time. It's got permanent attached to it, so it doesn't tick down in time. Which makes me think, actually, if I've got too many things in that list, then the buffs are going to take longer to tick over. Just realised that. I'm going to put that here. Optimization. Since we have buffs for each passive stat boost, maybe that's inefficient for buff, was it update buffs? Maybe make separate list of non. Yeah, that makes sense. Probably wouldn't make much difference, but yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, having too many different types of things, like yeah, like having talents versus buffs versus all these other things when a lot of the time they're the same, they can be thought of as the same thing. Right, I'm just really like being crap at math, so I want it to be that the higher this number is, the lower the chance, and the lower this number, the higher this number is, the lower the chance. Would it be that we wouldn't make these numbers interact, but we would start at like 5%, and we would say increase the likelihood, and so like lighten. I think that's probably how you do it. So it would be like, or is it so? Yeah, float chance equals, let's say, like 0.05, 5%. Chance times equals, no. Right? So, and then it would be something like that. So we'd have like 5%. And then the likelihood of the proc is, let's say, I don't know. It really sucks to not have like the maths brain. Yeah. So like high likelihood, 5 divided by like, let's say medium outcome would be 5. Let's say we've got a high outcome and, sorry, a high likelihood and a high value, then the chance should be lower. 5 divided by, so the higher each of these numbers is, right? No, but then I think it just depends on the relationship between the numbers. So we don't want to make them interact like that. So this would be like 5%, and then let's say a crit. So 5 times. And let's say the likelihood is 1 would be, of course, 5. So close the window again. Distracted with kids outside playing. I mean, I kind of had it okay here, like, yeah, and I put it in with, do I have it here? So we've written that twice. Chance was like, so it was chance out of outcome value. So like the outcome value, yeah, that's like the power of it. So that would be like 5% out of, so divided by outcome value. And the outcome values would generally yeah, damn. Okay, yeah, so sum and value chicken. So these are the outcome values. So it would be between like 1 and 5. So like we would divide the final, yeah, so we just take the number and divide it by the final number, and the final number should be like how powerful it is. Okay, so I don't know if that made sense, but here's what we're gonna do. What's this? Error. Okay, yeah, I'll deal with that later. Right. So the chance would, like, let's say the flat chance is 0.5. And then chance divided equals, and I think that is divide chance by outcome dot value. But then, and then like, would it be between these numbers? And chance might equal proc dot likelihood. So 5 divided by 1 equals 5. So if the likelihood is 1, so that should be like the baseline. But then if the likelihood is 10, should be 0.5, yeah. And then if the and then we've got, what I'm not sure about is, because we're doing the next thing to the outcome here, but I wonder if we actually, like, instead, maybe what we would want to do is basically get an average between these. So maybe the outcome value would be like 10%, and the likelihood would be 2%, so then the outcome would be like 6. So then the final chance would be 6. So this would be like crit, let's say, is 1, and the outcome value is 1. That would be 5%. So let's like put that at 10%. And I think that's right. And then basically the balancing is just going to be a matter of, if we feel that this proc is too powerful, then we just reduce the likelihood of, we say we increase the likelihood of that proc because we think it happens more commonly than we thought. And then, but if we think the outcome, like, oh, when this outcome happens it's way too strong, then we can just increase the value, which would mean that the chance will always be lower, right? And we should be, yeah, and the number should be basically between 1 and 10. So like 10 being super valuable, super likely. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And we should actually make constants for that. So we should make, so we shouldn't have all of these, but I'll just keep those so I can see them. So that'll at least be roughly the numbers. And then we could say public, oh no, these can be private float. Oh no, because, I guess because I'll just do public static float for now. Public static float, so critical value is 1, so let's look at the summon value, summoner. So summoner value is 5 times as, like, dropping an item which summons 5 units is 5 times more valuable than summoning a single unit immediately, I think. So that makes sense. So, and an explosion is considered quite, like, not very valuable. So that's twice as, so it's half as valuable as a summon, and therefore would increase the chance. Yeah, that makes sense. So we can go public static float, rare equals, and then yeah, so let's do powers first. I'm just thinking of like a naming for them. So like, we'll do 5, we'll do medium value. Yeah, we'll just do it paint by numbers. Medium value, terrible value, bad value, good value, and then we'll do the same with likelihood. And so terrible value would be, yeah, like 0.5, like that's not very good. But let's start at 1. Let's start from scratch here, kind of. And then I think it would just be base. I mean, this might be fairly redundant because we might just be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or 1. We might just be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I guess it's like we have to figure out what that scale is. I don't think it's going to be exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's going to be so terrible value would be like 0. Yeah, let's just keep it what we had there, 0.5. No, let's start fresh. So that terrible value is 1. Let's say 5. I mean, should it be equal distance with between each one? Do we just give the number? Yeah, I think we just give the number. So we don't need to store these, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think we need to store these. Waste of work. Still just figuring this out. But yeah, let's just assume that that's like a good way to calculate it. And if we do between 1 and 10, yeah, that'll make sense. So fairly straightforward. We've generated the chance. What else is there? Rarity. Okay, so then we could do like a roll for rarity. Okay, yeah, have a nice sleep, dude. Cheers for joining. Yeah, so now that we could do a roll for rarity, and we could also have like artifact power as a like stat somewhere. But we don't yet. So that would be adding, where would we put that? Yeah, where would we put that? So we could increase artifact power as a stat there somewhere. I guess like the faction would have it. It would be in the faction. I guess I don't need to worry about that yet. That should go on the design list. So that's like a separate thing, I feel, because we need to make artifact power. Yeah, I guess we can put that in there now. What I need to put in is add leafs for artifact power. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a fun one to have, although it's not really necessary, but let's just say, let's just leave that for now. And then we could give them different rarities as well. So we could roll a rarity and then also kind of change the color of it as well. And I think it's like, I could write my own one, because it would just be roll equals random dot range 0f1f, and then we just do, like, depending on the outcome of the roll, if we do like switch roll case, what do we do, like less, how can I go case like less than 0.1? Case roll is less than 0.1 or 0.5, let's say. I'm just gonna have to do a spaghetti because I just don't know how. If roll is less than 0.5f, then rarity equals 0, let's say. We'll do up to 4. Just like that, basically. In fact, we could just stack them on top of each other. I don't know how to do like a in a switch case, like do things like check below a number. I mean, I'm sure I could find out, but this will do just fine. And if it's less than 10%, then it's like uncommon or rare, I guess. And then if it's less than 5%, that's although we're not generating this artifact here, actually. So no, actually we don't want this here. Yeah, I don't think we have rarity like that. So I'm kind of thinking as I'm going, but yeah, basically that's for when we generate it. So this has just been remarkably simple. I thought this bit was like going to be chunky, but yeah, I wasn't thinking about it right. Okay, yeah, so that's good. And then run artifact outcome. So let's make this code work. It's not going to be complete yet, but let's make it work. Artifact outcome is equal to no, it does it. That's going to be redundant because we do want to do the thing. So then we roll the dice. Okay, so this is where we actually roll the dice for the outcome as well. Okay, good. If the subject character, okay, and then we have a bool for is the chance double for the player. Okay, so how else could we check that? Do I just need to just put that back? Yeah, I guess an artifact outcome would have player double. I'm going to do it like that for now. So outcome public bool player double. See, that would be for the input for the proc. So that just means that these are artifacts where the player has like it means that the player has a twice as good a chance of doing it. So if it's the player doing this, then we double their chance if that's the terms of the proc. All right, and then so if we get the chance, we check what the outcome is, and we're procking it from elsewhere. So case okay, so here we're going to have to do artifact outcome dot name, And then we're going to have to do artifact. We're going to have to do summon dot names like that. Does that need to be static now? I suppose it should be, because these don't change. To find and replace, but it's going to take me longer to set that up than to just do it manually. Because then these can be accessed from anywhere. I don't really, apparently that's not how you're supposed to do it, but I don't really see the downside of doing it like this. Okay. Constant value is expected. What do you mean by that? So if the artifact outcome name is equal to summon.name, what's the problem? So would I have to, because I could just put it manually here. Is that going to be the way to do it? Because what I want is to not do that. Is that is going to be... Really? I feel like it's just going to be easier to do this, and then if there's a spelling mistake, then I'll fix it. Okay, fine. Alright, let's do it like this then. So let's change... I think I could probably do some kind of regex expression, but... Oh, yeah, no, that's right, that's right. Okay, and then we just need these. Yeah, okay, now that should be fixed and work. Artifact proc dot. Okay, so if artifact proc, so this is an outcome. Yeah, okay, so this is a bit of spaghetti code. That's probably there for a good reason. Do we not have vengeful as a proc? We do. Oh, we just need to go straight to vengeful.names. And so this is going to be .names. Okay, and then the sprite. Okay, so this is going to have to be its own thing. Make. So here we would want to make an item burst, but we're going to have to make a bespoke one that's going to carry more than one sprites on it. So make artifact burst. And then we'll artifact.proc sprite. So we just write, this doesn't exist yet. Outcome. To artifact And then so we'll leave that red so we're reminded to make that later. But yeah, generate artifacts is pretty straightforward. Yeah, nice. That should work. So let's just go through and tidy up some bugs here. So yeah, we're going to need a way to generate a description, and that's going to be used in 2 places. So let's put that. Well, no, we don't have a description. So in the I can just do a really quick version here, but I guess like show artifact. So give me the name. No. Encyclopedia. Shouldn't open artifact. It should open procs and outcomes. So that's going to be a bit of a job. Yeah, you can browse artifact, procs and outcomes, and that should be enough for you. Right clicking on the procs and outcomes of an artifact should take you to that page in the encyclopedia, although to be honest it's going to be displayed for you, like there's going to be a tooltip. But yeah, we shouldn't be opening artifacts like that because we're not going to have each artifact listed. So I mean, I could just write out open proc artifact proc equals proc.sprite name description type artifact.proc.names, and then yeah, this actually should just work just fine. And then we would have that again for outcome. There we go. This is a bit of an extra bit of work doing the encyclopedia, so I'd probably say, I mean, I'm just doing it now because it's in front of me, but it's probably, as tempting as it might be, encyclopedia should be like the last thing you make in it, and one of the last things you make in a game, because yeah, it's not difficult for me to sort out right now. Did I not have? Oh, it's just open proc. It's already getting confusing, you know, when and when not to have the word artifact before it, but it's okay. And then again, we would want the same for outcome. see if I can kind of hackily make this work. Okay, so then generate artifacts. No. Generate procs. Wait, where was I before? Yeah, outcome proc as opposed to outcomes and procs. Okay, I need to be aware of that. Yeah, so where was I again? Yeah, encyclopedia states procs. Proc. No, so for each proc, artifact proc, in artifacts.procs. Yep. And then, yeah, so then we, depending on which button we press here, artifacts, procs, outcomes, and then, yeah, actually I want to go back to where I was just a second ago. Where was I? Yeah, so we can actually have, we have open proc, open outcome. Yeah. And we have generate procs. We should also have generate outcomes. I wonder if these could be homogeneous, like I'm kind of copying and pasting a bit too much here maybe, but it's fine. These are sort of quite different. We reset the transform. We set the state to a specific string. And then we go for each thing in a list, and this is where you probably can't really copy paste it, even though a lot of this is quite similar. Yeah. So even though that's pretty paint by numbers, I think, yeah, it's probably a way I could make that a bit more efficient, but well, to start with, this won't exist. Or will it? Yeah, because we still want to make the list. We want to add the artifacts to the list. Yeah, so then artifact, new artifact, and then need to think about where exactly to put that as well. Okay, so then this would be case artifacts. No, we would have case procs, generate procs, outcomes, I think we would want to still have a sub-menu of artifacts. figure this out. Artifacts to root menu, but then procs and outcomes. Generate outcomes. Generate procs. So if we back up from a proc, if we back up from an outcome, it should take you back to the menu. But if we're in so then we need to make sure that's actually there. So we go back to then how did I do this? Oh, we still did it from a list. Because I just want two of them. Okay, we don't need the word menu there. Generate artifacts. Although no, it is artifact menu. I think that's going to be more accurate. Because it's not a list of artifacts, it's the artifact menu. Yeah. And then we just go yeah, it's basically this. Where was I? So, make a new encyclopedia button. Okay, and so then what do we do with the root ones? Navigation equals S. Okay. It's annoying to have to do this. I should have not started on the encyclopedia till I'd done all the stuff I'm doing here, but generate factions, yeah, so artifact menu. It's just two buttons we need. Equals procs. Yeah. Don't know what this would be in other languages. In fact, does this even work in... Does the encyclopedia work in it? I'm not sure it does, actually. Factions. I think I might have, like, some sort of override script that translates those. We'll see. Encyclopedia. What's going on there? Don't know why I have bad internet. Okay, so yeah, it just seems really weird to do a for each. Just have 2 instead. That should do it. I'm not even going to like test this for now. I just want to like kind of clear the bugs, basically. Clear the compile errors. Okay, knockback. Right, yeah. So this is an odd one. Because the knockback, I might get rid of knockback ones. Yeah, so I'm just gonna kill that for now. Wait, let me think. Yeah, get rid of knockback proc. Just because like knockback isn't really a build and nothing can lead into knockback, so I think it doesn't connect and therefore it's not particularly fun. So yeah, we're gonna cut knockback. So to what extent do I want to make this work? I think we can just go ahead and cut it. Because yeah, the philosophy is they have to link up with each other. So yeah, mana as an outcome, ultimate as an input, that works because it can lead into other things. But knockback is like, yeah, it rewards you for using like hammers and anything that does knockback, but knockback itself isn't a useful thing, and there's not going to be anything else that increases knockback, so that it lacks that chaining effect. Vengeful artifacts. Artifact.proc is equal to .proc. So it has to be names here. I mean, it's just the best way to do it. It could be ID or something, but I find names works. And then it would be artifacts .vengeful.names. And then this should be accounted for, because there'll be a different one like for Flaming Death, and I've got that written down. It would basically just be yeah, if basically if they have that debuff, but yeah, we'll just delete it for now. And there's going to be a bunch of these to get through. So double debuff. Yeah, so like here's one. When you cast a buff on someone, a debuff on someone, there's a chance to double it. That doesn't sync with anything. So I'm going to delete that. And if it's double buff, like, yeah, I think that I only want the ones that are going to connect with each other. Yeah, because that's when players are going to have fun. It's not like, oh, I've got a build that has lots of debuffers and here's the artifact which increases the power of a debuff. That's pretty good. But the really fun ones are where it's like, oh, I've got the one that when I cast a debuff, I get healed. And I've also got another one which gives me something that gives me a buff every time I'm healed. So it's like mad synergy. I think we want to kind of push for that. So we never have artifacts that are an end unto themselves. Okay, so that's fine. I'm just going to go through this list. So make item burst. So this is another one. This means electric is more powerful, which I think is redundant. We don't want that anymore. Yeah. And then frozen. Yeah, those ones make sense. So the buffed or stats equal to liquefied. Yeah. But electric boogaloo doesn't make sense. And that's actually the bit that was giving a problem. But here we need to do artifact.proc.names. So I'll just start by adding that to the left here. So we can do these in a stack. And then it will be artifacts dot. So and then we do, I don't know if this is the best code, but this will make it work for now. And then we just put a dot names here as well. Cool. Stoic reflect. No. No, because again, that doesn't chain into anything else. So we're not going to keep that. Just make sure I didn't get anything. Yeah, that's all just to do with stoic reflect, yeah. Make sure I'm not cutting out like core bits of code that actually make you do the block. Okay, and then so stoic reflect again shows up here. And it shows up within this bit. So again can be deleted. But for stoic artifacts, yeah, we do want, this is correct. Run if this is where we proc the block buff, the block artifacts, and then the chance is calculated at the other end. And then this is the same. And then if the outcome is extra, and just in case I haven't already, so actually artifact outcomes, yeah, there's no such thing as extra. Good. Good. Okay. This is to display the artifacts. Oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that actually. So the way this is going to have to work, and this is bulked up anyway. Because basically, if that's 1, 2, we're going to make another child, which would be 3. And this would be an image sprite. And this would be artifact.proc.sprite.outcome.sprite. Like, basically, we have to... And I think it would be the two of them together. And then, like, you can't see the chance from there, but you can always, like, hover over it. And then, actually, do we have... When we make these talent ones, do we have... yeah, we'll see about that. We'll come back to that. As long as it sort of works in principle. I think when we get here, it's going to say there is no such thing, and that will prompt me to make the other image, but I don't want to do that right now. Okay, Spark of Life. Okay, we do another check. We do a separate check for Electric Boogaloo, but I'm not into that anymore. Which is nice, actually, because it was created a really awkward coding exception. Okay, so here we have Grave Resurrect. But no, we can proc... Can we not do run artifact outcome? I think I'm just going to get rid of this for now. I mean, it should be so similar to the other places where we proc something. We do character container. Yeah, so it should be something like this in the grave one, even though that hasn't been set up to work for now. We say for each artifact in active artifacts, yeah, we haven't got that there. Artifacts, grave, which would be for resurrections. Yeah. And then I guess, so yeah, run artifact outcome. Still need to probably fix that code a bit, but we'll see. And then we'll do, so who do we do it to? We have like grave resurrect, which basically says it's gonna make your resurrection stronger. But again, I think the design philosophy has to be that these artifacts can synergize with each other. And there's no end point to grave resurrect, so I guess it would be okay. I guess whatever the target would be, new character container. Well, it'll be this is the one who's doing the resurrecting, right? Resurrector. And then it would be new character container and grave buff again, like that can be folded into the actual script. So grave resurrect. No, we're not asking specific, and yeah, we're getting rid of that one. But we do have the little thing to say you have resurrected someone. Proc anything that's supposed to proc on resurrect. Again, we could even cut the resurrect ones, but because they're only available for the undead. So we'll see. But it's going to be much easier to sort of we can just be like, okay, add a new proc that immediately adds like 10 new potentially artifact unlocks. Okay, what are we doing here? So if leaf.artifact, so this is if the leaf can unlock an artifact, and I think not. I don't think it should be able to do that. It could maybe do procs and stuff, but we'll come to that later. Right, I'm going to take quick smoke break and a toilet break, so I think I'll be about 10 minutes or so. And yeah, I mean we're a long way along here already. Like we kind of the hard part turned out to be the easy part, and the sort of sorting it out after is turning out to be the hard part. But actually generating the artifact and giving it its chance and whatnot, that's turned out to work out really well. Okay. So I will be right back in a moment. Thank you. Oh, Monsieur Jete, thanks for joining again. So yeah, it's a simple one. Dot names. And then yeah, the other thing I'll have to do, which I'll probably do off stream, is to actually put in all of these outcomes and whatnot, and then we're gonna have to draw sprites for them. So it's a big one, but this is gonna cover us for any artifacts we want in the future. Yeah, I had a good weekend. Went to the beach, got fully burnt up. How was your weekend? Went full like lobster. I've got like, I don't know if you can see, but I went proper lobster. Like, I'm starting to recover already. But yeah, I got proper heat stroke. So yeah, this is armored. This one's procs when your armor breaks. And extra no longer exists. It's sort of extra added more variety. It's like, oh, every time you loot an item, that item's going to be more powerful. No, I don't like it. I think it should always chain to another. What was it? Artifacts. Looters. Loot, yeah. What's wrong with that? Oh, yeah, it's fine. And then killer. Yep, simple. We just need to change the format. Ultimate, very simple. Just procs when you do an ultimate. And make artifact burst. So I want to try and make. And so this is going to be the exact same thing. Make artifact burst. In fact, I could like retrofit it. New item burst dot sprite renderer 2 dot sprite. No, let's just do a separate thing. Oh, does it need to be? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it properly. Let's do it like this. So this doesn't exist yet. I will copy and paste the prefab though, and just do the differences. Again, this doesn't exist. Yeah, sure. I don't think we'll mess with the scale. Or maybe we will, because maybe it will be bigger for the hero. So I'll just leave that there. Character to HP, but yeah, so it will appear above the character. It asks for a character. So yeah, I guess it was asking for a position, but yeah, actually that's better. Artifact burst. Okay, so then let's go to item burst. Let's go to the item burst prefab, and just right next to it put a artifact burst prefab. So this is just a little icon that appears. So when you get an item, the little icon appears above the character showing that you've got the item. And with the artifact, it would just be a little icon above the character's head showing that you've procced the artifact. Just makes it clearer that it's working, that it's happening. It's quite satisfying to see them pop off often, especially the powerful ones. And then so yeah, artifact burst prefab is artifact burst. And then so we'll do that, and then we'll want to go into, I've already got item searched here, so I should find item burst. There we go. Item burst. Yeah, and it's in number burst, so we've got, let's just call this bursts to reduce confusion. This is artifact burst, And the only difference is that we've got, so let's put that at yeah, let's just put that at that, and so the sprite would be there, and I hope the animation, damn it, it does affect. That's fine, that's fine. So we item burst sprite, item burst 2. So yeah, second sprite. Not too bothered about naming conventions here. So let's say that's minus 1.5, and this is, yeah, so 1.5. Let's say. Why can't I see them? So let's just switch them on so we can see them. So that is minus. Okay, that kind of works, except they can be a bit closer. So let's say it's minus, because they can almost be overlapping, I think. Yeah, they can be overlapping a little bit, so you'll sort of see the proc. In fact, we might do the thing of having, yeah, here we go. So the proc goes in the middle, so it'll still be using the same sort of theme we have now. It's just kind of automated. So this would be there before. Hopefully that doesn't mess with anything else. And I guess they'd be the same sizes. I'll just draw a smaller sprite, but if we have to change the sizes here, we only have to do it in one place. That's good. Okay. And so yeah, we'll essentially want to, in fact, you know what we can do? We can pop this inside here. Yeah, okay. So we're going to keep that so we don't have to make another thing. I don't know if I'm being lazy or clever here. There's a fine line between lazy and working smart instead of hard. So then, yeah, so where were we? So what's wrong with that? Okay, so let's call it sprite renderer 2. Yeah, working on some kind of game. It's survivor-like, so think Vampire Survivors, but you can summon units around you. So your allied units will appear in the same way that enemies appear in like Vampire Survivors or Megabonk, and they'll fight each other. And you can upgrade your units, and you can upgrade it in the same way that you upgrade your own character. So you end up with a big chaotic battle. If you look up Army of Survivors on Steam, you can see the trailer there. And wishlist it if you like. If it looks like your kind of jam. Okay, so this is still an item burst basically. So we're going hacky, 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 but it's fine, no one gets hurt. Yeah, since we had the idea, So we go, actually what we want is subject character. And actually what we want is what do we do? Subject character dot is player. Lovely, lovely, delicious spaghetti. I think actually it's like 0.8, but let's see. Let's go. In fact, yeah. So to that we'll go 0.8f, and this is fairly sloppy. Is it optimized? I mean, basically every time we actually run the outcome, if it's successful. So if it's successful, then we're just going to have this odd problem of asking if the subject character dot is player is there twice. Otherwise, we could break this up. So like, no, I think that yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So if subject character dot is player. This near the top, I can put it next to dice. Lovely. Yeah, and there should always be a subject character, I think. So I don't know about this. If subject character, because if there's no subject character, I guess it's like they might have died, but we should still know who it is. We should still know where it is. So I feel like personally, I like to let that just bug if it bugs. But I'll just put yeah. But that'll show, yeah. So if so, I'm gonna get rid of this because there should always be a subject character, I think, and if not, then this will bug out anyway. So it even if it makes it past that, it will still crash when it gets here. Okay, are we done? Are we done then? So we can go to GM. Oh yeah, so artifact burst. Okay, so it's not. So yeah, I've got more compile errors just from scripts that I haven't opened. So yeah, so can I do like and then or? Right? I think I'm just I don't know, so I'm just gonna play it safe. I'm just doing a nested one because I don't know if you can do like and this or that, like this and this or that, and how that will sort of bracket that up basically. Yeah, so if and so basically we exclude it based on the outcomes, based on faction, and that will be down to outcome procs and outcomes instead of just the artifact. So total weight. Yeah, so we are generating a bunch based on rarity. Okay, so we can go back to doing that. So yeah, we're generating all of them. So we can say, shit, I actually did have it here before, but I'll do it again. Float, roll, rarity roll equals random dot range 0f 1f, and then we just do. But we need to do this for each rarity, basically. So actually we would have like... No, so we don't roll rarity. We roll that at the other end. That's at the other end. Okay, no, so we here, we go... We would have a list of rarities then. List of ints called rarities. I think that's right. Bear with me. So we have a list of rarities, and we go for each. No, we'll just do a while loop between 0 and 4, I guess. So int rarity equals, let's say 4. I'm very bad at this, like counting. So then we go while rarity is less than 4. Rarity plus plus. Okay. And then we might actually want to make rarity a float, but I'm kind of worried that could cause problems. But I'm thinking yeah. Actually, this is really simple. New artifact dot rarity. So you could get two artifacts that are the same, but one is more rare. Which I can, so yeah, make sure you can't get roll two artifacts that are the same. So we'll just ask like if the outcome, and yeah, we'll see. Okay, as long as it's on the list, it's going to happen. So new artifact dot rarity equals rarity. Simples. So we go. So in that case, we should do it 5, and then while in rarity. So yeah, rarity is 0. Rarity plus plus. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3. 4. Yeah, that should do. And then, yeah, well, it's greater than 4, that's right. Okay, new artifact dot rarity. So we do actually want to store the rarity on the artifact, so we just bring that back. Public int rarity. And it will always be set to something anytime we ask for it. Okay. Okay, so this is when we generate artifact buttons. Okay, so this is going to be a big one because this is the bit that we like completely change. So we're going to want a new UI, but we have artifact button. We just need to expand on this. So let's get our artifact button and like make it bigger. So we can show all the information, because it used to be like super simplified. I'm looking in console. Artifact button. Okay. So as you can see, it's like a nice long thing, but the image would need to be like, yeah, so proc image and outcome image. Yeah, it's fine. It probably shouldn't derive from option button actually. Take that off. And yeah, at the moment a lot of the buttons are using the same animations as well, and that needs to stop. So it's trying to be efficient, but it's not actually efficient. So yeah, I think we can actually break. Yeah, let's just break it. Okay, so we've got this background. That's fine. Probably going to need to make the button itself bigger. So let's just nudge it up to start with, and then we'll see how it looks like in the scene. And then yeah, we'll do the sort of proc image in the middle. And yeah, they'll like overlay on top of each other. Outcome image. Yeah. And then there's the button, and then there's the text. Where the text now, I mean, we could just write proc and outcome, but actually, yeah, I sort of had it in my head that you'd have this little icon for the proc and a little icon for the outcome, but then actually, I think to simplify it, okay, so this is the white, yeah, so it's just this piece of text here. So actually we don't need as much space as I thought, although the text will be bigger. So yeah, I guess this is all just so we've got kind of more space for the text. Keeping it simple. Where basically we just declare the chances. So we say new artifact button. Yeah, so it's the sprite. So yeah, new artifact image dot proc. Isn't that what we called it? Oh, we have to make the actual thing. For the outcome image should be artifact.outcome.sprite. Simple. It's kind of like, yeah, all artifacts are a combination of two other things. So we save ourselves a lot of time and energy doing it like this, I think. So the text would be, yeah, followed, so the name followed by Yeah, so I don't know if we'd actually want to just generate the name, but yeah, artifact.procs, because I'm just wondering like what kind of description would each proc have, and it would be on crit, on something, and then there might be a lack of clarity, like on player crit. Yeah, so on crit. On something. On crit, do a thing. No, artifact dot descriptions. On crit, heal the player, heal, yeah. The thing is, there are some exceptions, like I want to explain that heal yeah. Outcome. So it should just be and I guess I should wonder just whether or not to make that the final name or not. But the description should always pair together, and I hope that works in every language. If not, then there can be some shuffling, I'm sure. In which case, it probably makes more sense then to artifacts should have description, and we can generate it when we generate artifacts. So then anytime we need to reference it, so yeah, that generates the description. We would do that for each language. And I guess the AI can decide whether we need to like shuffle those things around or add different, but it should be, yeah, on crit, colon, heal, and then it would have like the outcome can have a long description because it needs to describe how it works for the hero. Like what difference does it make for the hero? And then yeah, how do we decide which ones have so player double is on the proc? No, it can be on the outcome, can't it? Yeah, it depends more on the outcome, because so what I'm saying is like there's an artifact which heals a unit when it does damage, like when it has a chance to heal a unit when it does a crit, but if the hero does that, it actually heals the whole army, which is really good, and I like that. But that depends on the fact that it's a heal outcome, not the proc. And then I'm just trying to think of other versions where it changes. So it heals all. I mean, the reset was that it reset all. And again, that's based on the outcome. So actually, this would be here instead. Because the outcome has, yeah, like it would be like double for player, double for hero. So the outcome contains that information. Okay, yeah. And then, so where were we? Okay, we need to do this again here. Doing rarity twice. Well, we're gonna come back here anyway to oh no, we got too many brackets. We haven't got enough brackets. Okay. Why are we doing the weight twice? Why, with it, I'm just looking. I haven't looked at this code for ages, and actually had some help from Gemini to do it, but from ChatGPT in this case to do it, just to do weights. And I'm like, okay, how does this actually work? So total weight equals. It looks like, and what was that? Okay, so here is where we this looks like spaghetti. Yeah. Well, I'm just making I'm changing it so that we can basically generate all our artifacts by taking all of the potential procs and all the potential outcomes, and then kind of like dynamically generating a big list of artifacts. And then we've got this thing of rarity, and it looks like here. It looks like it looks like this is like full spaghetti, because it looks like total weight plus equals weights artifact.rarity. No, see, I think I should like get rid of this. But I'm not actually yeah. So I think I know what rarity it should be. I think I know how to do this. I just don't know how to edit that one to make it work. But I reckon I could make it work fine. Okay, so never mind rerolls. So that's just reroll logic. We're pausing the game here because we just pause it everywhere, because in case of like it does happen where two things happen at once and then it becomes unpaused. Artifact options clear. Okay, so that's the one we'll use. And then we'll add for each. Yeah. And then available artifacts we don't need. So yeah. So first we'll just add the ones that are possible. For each artifact in artifacts dot. And did we get rid of that? I think we did. We do still need it though. Yeah, we did. We did keep it. I brought it back. Yeah, no, thank you.
No, forward to strawberry.
Hmm. Just checking that it's unlocked, basically. So we check if it's unlocked. And then we'll do this one. If we don't already have it, then artifact options.add artifact. Should they all be legendary if one of them's legendary? Like you get a rare roll, which means all of that, because that's how a lot of games do it. It means that you're never like choosing between the higher rarity one. Also, it seems it's going to be much easier to program now that I'm looking at it, because I could just roll for rarity at the beginning. So we go. Okay, and this time let's not get rid of this. So. F1F, so roll a percentage. If roll, rarity roll, and then we'll have int rarity equals 0. Retros. And then we just keep doing these, basically. It's not the cleanest way to do it, but it's the way that I know. And I don't know what the best math should be, but I feel like this is sort of, you just kind of keep doubling up. Right, so you got a 5% chance to get like a legendary one, and then so then you'll only get the ones that match your rarity. And then we need like a short list. Artifacts options Yeah. So then down here. Okay. So then that gives us our pool of artifacts, and then I would think artifact options, so the actual ones that we get, clear artifact, and then we just add 3. So I could do a while loop, or I could just do it to write it 3 times. Yeah, we'll do a while loop. While int I equals 0, while I is less than, and then this is going to be based on choices. Yeah, artifact choices. Yeah, so it starts at 2 and then that can be increased. So yeah, while I is less than artifact choice, we might want to start I at 1, I'm not sure. It'll be very easy to see if it's gone wrong. Artifact options count. So while I is less than artifact choices, so first of all I plus plus, so we don't break the computer, and artifact options dot add artifact options artifact wait, yeah, artifact choices options pool random.range 0 artifacts pool dot count. So it's going to add a random one. But first, so am I missing a bracket here? Yeah, and then artifact pool, just so you can't get the same one twice. Artifact like that. What happened to artifacts pool? Okay, yeah. So we'll do generate pool available artifacts. Generate options. So generate artifact options, the ones that you get to choose from. Yeah. And then we've got a nice list of artifacts, and we've sorted out rarity, and we've sorted out and yeah, we'll get to other ways of weighting things as well. Yeah, so I think we've done this. So we can delete all of that. So then we generate the options. So that's already done for me. And we set the width based on, yeah. And that should come in neatly. So generate the buttons, generate options. Yeah, so that should do it really. I do actually want to kind of jump ahead a bit. I feel like, how are we going to limit should be weighted towards the artifact whose proc or outcome, or it could even be restricted to, because you can always chain out of that. That is the same as in I think the dwarf game, Deep Rock Survivors. You can only get upgrades which share a tag with one of your existing upgrades. And so in this case, yeah, I'd like to be friendly to the player. I want the player to get these good synergies, because I think they'll have fun. So the first one's totally random, but the second one will say, if you've like, we're only going to include ones that have a synergy with what you already have, basically. Like, have the same type, or so. Yeah, so we choose our rarity. But then we might want to... I mean, it's okay to have it just random and not do that at all. And just let it... Excuse me. Let it be what it is. So having those synergistic ones, that is its own rarity. Like, that's fun. But, thank you. Yeah. Is it worth having that? Yeah, I mean, I think it creates more room for synergies. I mean, I guess it makes it less epic when you do get those synergies. But actually, I think sort of saving the player some time, and the way Deep Rock Survivor does it, it's like, yeah, let's just keep people... Let's just make these synergies not difficult to get, because that's where the fun lies. But maybe it is only fun because it's rare. You think it's a good idea? Yeah, I think so. Just sort of saying, and then it's a question of, do we weigh towards it or do we exclude it? So it's like, first roll, it looks like this. And yeah, so how would we do it? So rarity, have we unlocked the thing? Have we got the right faction for it? Are we in excluded faction list? Do we already have it? And then I guess I'm just thinking about how logistically to do it. So where do we store whether this is the first one or not? So if player dot active, yeah, so I think it's GM active, does it have to be C dot active artifacts count is greater than 0, then we want to go through and remove any that don't exist. So we could make like a list of list, and we don't have to be optimal here because it's just going to get called, like, you know, a dozen times in a run, I think. So list, so we don't have to be optimal here. We can just abuse the garbage collector. So list GM list proc artifact proc like currently held procs. Let's just call it procs equals new list proc. So this is all the procs that we have. And then I guess, yeah, we would want the same for outcomes. Don't know why I did it like that. Outcome. And then for each artifact. It's probably going to be some much easier way to do this, but like I said, I'm just not bothered about optimization here at all. So for each artifact in gm.c.activeArtifacts, procs.add artifact.proc, outcomes.add artifact. Artifact.outcomes. Okay, so then we've got a list of procs and outcomes that we already have. And we want to say the outcome should be the same or the proc should be the same. And actually there should be, and there's another layer to this, but because what I want is, so like for example, the outcome could be get mana, which means that we're going to have a synergy with the outcome get mana would have a synergy with the proc ultimate, basically. So we would want to allow that, and each one would have like a supposed synergy. Do I want this? Is this a good idea? And then so like I've got the one that occurs when my armor breaks. So then that's going to make me more likely to get one that restores my armor. Even though that doesn't quite link, it's still pretty good. So when my armor breaks, gain mana. Let me close the door. So yeah, something like gain mana when my armor breaks. And then that could lead into, gain armor when I do my ultimate, and then that. So yeah, an outcome would be linked to a proc. Okay, so first let's just do this. For each in artifact pool, where's artifact pool gone? Yeah, artifacts pool. If procs dot contains artifact so if procs contains artifact.proc, or if it doesn't, then remove it. But okay, so we have to make list. Remove list equals new list artifact. So if the procs, but it would be both of these. If the procs and outcomes. So if my list of procs, if this artifact doesn't match a proc with one of the ones in the list, then don't add it. Or procs.contains or outcomes. just make the script for each one in the removed list. Artifacts pool, remove artifact. And we have to do it like that because you can't remove it here because we're going through the list. It causes a crash. Okay. Remove list, add, yeah. So if we don't share an outcome or a proc with one of the ones that we have, then get rid of it. But then also, if outcomes if outcomes dot yeah, let's make it a list. If outcomes dot, and then we'll call it like public string. Yeah, I think we can be a proc. Can it be? Should it be a list or a single one? Let's make it a single one for now. Proc. Yeah, public artifact proc favored proc. Okay, yeah, and then we say if outcomes dot if artifact dot proc dot names, let's just do names, it's not equal to yeah, so that'll be for each outcome. So we'd have to do like a for each outcome, basically. Like, so do we want this favored thing? Because it's like, yeah, if the input is crit and the output is mana, then you would want to have a chance to get ultimate something else. So I guess, yeah, this doesn't have to be optimal. So for each outcome in outcomes, if outcome brackets, if outcome dot favored proc is not equal to artifact proc. Then remove list.add artifact. Yeah, it's very untidy and it's not optimal, but again, it doesn't matter. It just hurts to write it like that. But yeah, that'll work. Remove artifact. And then yeah, if it doesn't have the favored proc. Except this is going to remove all of them. So that's going to remove any that don't have either the proc or the outcome, so that's not right. Might have to do like a first or default or something. Like, I'm so slow today. I'm not very good at programming today. Not on my best, but like trying to be thorough. Like the simple part was all I actually intended to do, but that took really quick. So everything else can get done today. For each artifact outcome, I'm sort of feeling like I'm not sure because it's just too restrictive. And I want people to be able to like jump into other builds. Like we could also ask, do you have the talent that matches this? Because it shouldn't be based on just having the same one, and it shouldn't be. But then there's also like favored ones, like funny synergies can happen. No, you know what? I'm gonna get rid of this for now. I'll just comment it out, and then if I see it again later, I'll either finish it or... But yeah, I'm going to move on from this. And then we'll test it, and then we'll see if it's like... Because yeah, I'm just not up to it today, I don't think, as well. If it even is a good idea to add. Right, so... That should be simple then. So yeah, I have done this. It should be automatically generated with procs and outcomes. Artifact power can be upgraded, so I'll keep that somewhere down, I guess, because that's not been done. Roll for rarity on generate, yeah. And yes, an interesting design choice, I think. Like, do you give people 3 options that are random rarity each, so they could get one that's legendary, one that's normal, or do you make all of them, you know, and then it just adds like a really obvious layer of luck? I mean, we could remove this completely and just get rid of rarity for artifacts. We could do that as well. I just thought it would be kind of a fun extra layer. Yeah, so the next thing to do then, because the UI has actually been really simple. Well, that's the thing, though. Like, the one that has the synergy is always going to be the best pick. And then otherwise what it does is it kind of puts you in a position where you could change your build. So, for example, like, yeah, I get critical mana, and then I get crit, and I get, like, the talents that improve my ultimate. And then I don't get ultimate or critical anything, so then I'm like, okay, well... But I get something else. It just kind of puts me into another build and just creates more, like, yeah. And I just think it's like it will come down to balancing. And if we really feel if we don't miss it when we're playing, then it's probably fine, you know. Yeah, proxies just burning death. Yeah. So what we need to do is go through and define each proc and outcome. So first let's list them. So we'll go back to artifacts and we'll do, yeah, we've already gotten rid of those sprites, so this is much cleaner. Yeah, we'll start to bring that in. So summon is good, heal chicken, mana gem, buff, reset, explosion, armor. What other ones did we come up with? Yeah, mana, honor attack. Yeah, outcome like add armor. So that'd be an interesting one, but I guess we could sort of write a different thing for each outcome, but like add armor. So it would be like add your armor to whatever we're gonna do here. So like chance to add your armor to your healing. When you heal, there's a chance to add your armor to it. Or there's armor, which is to add armor, to regenerate armor, restore armor. And then add armor is like, that's the powerful one. It will add your armor to that. And then reset, as fun as it is to sort of hit someone, get a crit, and then immediately hit them again, it doesn't link with anything else. The chicken does, the heal does, because healing does, and getting items does. I'm in danger of luck being the absolute best build because of so much more potential synergy. So I might actually have to roll this back and just not drop the item anymore. There's also a thing we might do is like, if by the calculation the chance of the artifact being successful is like lower than 0.1%, then just cut it. Just get rid of it. Because like, for example, a chicken is, or a summoner is pretty valuable. And you might have a proc that is really likely, like doing a crit, meaning that the outcome of like the critical summoner would just be so rare as to not be worth it. Like it you know, be like 0.005%, and it's just like, nah, just leave it. Explosion again. Like, I like the theming of it in some ways, but I think let's lean more into like having all of these work together. Yeah, add armor to your attacks. Like, then there's things like overheal. So on overheal, like overhealing could add armor or something like that. We can add more fun ones, but we're always going to be doing it in terms of the procs and the outcomes. So what we need to do next is make these procs and outcomes. So procs.clear, procs.add. So yeah, summon. So yeah, we need to do this for each of them. Summon, and we'll make our template in summon. So, and then we need all the bits that a proc has. So summon dot names equals new list string. We'll just start with the English. Summon. And then that will be similar with descriptions. New list string. This is an outcome. Yeah, and we don't include the comma or anything. And we start with uppercase, that's fine. Okay, summon, and then so outcome has and a sprite. And this would be stuff.sprite. And that's fine. That doesn't exist yet, but we will put it there. Unlocked. would be just the default. We will change it if it's like an outlier. Value's important. You feel like sprite should be lower down on the list, if not at the bottom. Value's important. And I think value, well, we can actually take it from up here. Value is 1 at the moment. And obviously that's not tested balancing. Okay, and then value player double. So an outcome. So that'll be false by default, but we'll make it true if it's true. I think in the case of summon, I guess the outcome could be doubled. The ally summons 2. So yeah, actually that wouldn't be. And then favored proc would be vengeful, but I don't think I'm going to do this. Yeah, I mean, let's put it in there. Vengeful. So of course we have to set up procs first. And then excluded procs, we'll sort of deal with those as we see them. We'll be like, oh, that doesn't make any sense, right? Add that to the list. Some of them will be obvious, but I think summon can be on anything. Excluded factions, no. And sprite. And let's put sprite at the bottom. So this is our basic template for setting up an outcome. I want to do the same for procs. And so the first proc, let's call it, yeah, I think critical. We can change the order later, but critical.names, descriptions, likelihood. It doesn't have a favored proc. Does have a sprite. Okay. So I guess we shouldn't have the full stop. And yeah, we won't have a full stop in each case. Keep it simple. Oh wait, no, the last one can have a full stop. Summon an ally. Hero summons 4. No, let's say 2. And so it will look like on crit. This is what the description of the artifact would look like, which is accurate. Doesn't mean like who's critting who? Like if you is what you mean the enemy critting you or you critting the enemy, or should be obvious, I think. And then what else is in proc? Likelihood, yeah. Excluded outcomes. I mean, so yeah, we'll see which ones make sense. So then we're going to want to do that for each of these. And I guess like let's make a bunch of templates. And let's do holy. And I can do like find and replace. Yeah, I will do find and replace. So, and this would be on heal. And then again, like, is this you being healed or you healing someone? I think most of these make sense on healing someone, but I think I'm kind of okay to let players figure this out for themselves. Does this mean when I heal someone? Does this mean when I am healed? You know, kind of depends on the outcome as well. So, And we've determined that a heal is as likely as a crit. So that's 1. That's fine. Will happen about as often. Oh no, that's the value of a heal. I know we haven't determined, but I guess it's 1 as well. A heal is good. Although you'd think that a summon is way better than a heal. Well, anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about how often is a heal compared to a critical. Probably will happen about the same. But we can change that if one seems better than the other. So then Vengeful. On ally death. And the likelihood of that apparently is 10. So this happens way less often than a crit. So... but that's... this was based on... So I think it's actually... I want to divide it by 10. Right? So Vengeful likelihood. Like this doesn't happen very often. I'm not going to put it down that low. I think that's probably too low. These numbers haven't been fine-tuned. So yeah, Vengeful is like a bit less likely than a crit. It's not going to be popping off all the time. So the chance of whatever happens when that happens can be better, right? Yeah, you also think about summon as an outcome. Like, the thing is, summon kind of synergizes with Vengeful. And it synergizes with having a good army. So, like, yeah, versus Reset, which maybe synergizes with having good weapons. So maybe I should keep Reset as an outcome. Maybe that was a bit too harsh a decision. I don't know. Let's get these done. So critical... Killer. Yeah, killer makes sense whenever you kill someone. The procs are easier to think about, I think. Killer. And I think I can just say on kill. I did kind of wobble around a bit and think like, what do you mean kill? Like when I kill someone, when they kill me, like does this work for the enemy? But I think you can just figure it out. On kill. And then the likelihood for killer was like 4. So I think actually what we meant was like half as likely as a crit. So yeah, I think these are probably going to have the same sort of value. And then of course, this one would not have like heal the subject. This would have heal the person who killed them. So yeah, we'll figure that out. Because the proc says the subject is the person who did the killing. Or I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But let's get the data entry in. So killer ultimate. So on ultimate, and again, we don't have to be too verbose about it. They'll figure out what we mean. And the likelihood of this is actually like, so I think we're done with this. The likelihood of this is actually quite low, is very low. So this should always be quite powerful. So this truly would be a 0.1 likelihood. So actually it's gonna, like, if anything, the chance. Yeah, the chance is like negative, so the chance should be very high. That's in fact the chance should be 100%. Maybe they should all have a chance multiplier that starts at 1, and like, so instead of likelihood, it's chance multiplier. I think that's going to be an easier way to do it. And then we have like a base chance and then the chance multiplier. Yeah, I think that's going to be the way to do it. So actually, let's Let's go there. And then when we go to generate artifacts, we say chance equals 10%, which would be like base chance. Right? And we can kind of hard code it in, so ultimate chance multiplier would be, so yeah, so in here we say likelihood, we don't change the chance multiplier. These are sort of normal, but here we increase the chance multiplier. Increase that this is more likely than a critical hit. So it's like the whole thing will be balanced around critical summon. I think that's a good place to. So critical summon is 1 times 1, and that's just the base chance of it happening. Although actually, I think summon is quite powerful. I don't know. But about critical heal, I think that's a fair one. So heal is worth 1, a critical, and yeah, we want chance multiplier. Okay. And so killer is more likely, ultimate is more likely. And ultimate is like 100, right? That's like, it's guaranteed to happen. And it lets you know by looking at the thing. Okay. Ultimate buffed. Okay. And again, buff, are we talking, and who are we doing it to? The buff or the buffer or the person who got buffed? I think players will just have to figure that out. All you need to know really is like, this is going to happen because you are buffing people. And buffed is like, that's going to be popping off quite often. So the chance multiplier is going to be like 0.2. And then buffed. And this should say debuffed. In fact, I think we're getting rid of all of these. We don't want debuffed. That's too good. We want to do it based on the specific buff. So let's go ahead and cut that now, because now it's so much easier to change this. Okay, so debuffed. No, we have flaming. Which happens whenever you set an enemy on fire. So on burning, on setting enemy on fire, I mean on enflaming. Does that work? Will people figure that out? Enflame is to make something flamed. Otherwise I could say burn. I guess we call this burn. So on burn, yeah, flaming. And then we just say on burn. And then And so you get the idea. We're going to go through all of these and we're going to give it a little bit of thought. Because, yeah, burning an enemy is going to be popping off all the time. That's debuffing, so that should be roughly on par with that. Burning, and then, like, freezing and electrifying. I think that's clear. So burning... on freeze, electrifying, so like electrifying summon. Every time you electrocute an enemy, you have a chance to summon every time, or electrifying mana. Every time you electrocute an enemy, you have a chance to gain mana. That kind of thing should be fun. And this one on electrocution. And yeah, so I'm going to end the stream here. I'm going to go through off stream and do all of the rest of these. And when we come back, I mean, looking at the list. So yeah, I've kind of, yeah, I'll do that and kind of finish this up. And then we've got a few bugs to go through, stages, odd visual here and there, but we're getting really close. We're getting really, really close. This Artefacts thing has been a long time coming, a long battle fought to get to the point where this is like figured out, and once it's done, it's going to be a real load off. It's going to be really fun. And then we don't revisit Artefacts. So I've actually got this chunk of list here which I can now actually remove, which that's a good chunk to be removing. We'll blitz through this quickly. This is actually this sort of me explaining what I'm doing here. Stages, SFX. This is like a day, if that. I think that's about a day's work, and so on and so on. Like we will. We're getting there. We're going to finish this. So thanks very much, everyone who joined today. I will be back tomorrow. I might even be doing morning stream as well tomorrow, but keep an eye out for notifications. All right, cheers. Have a good one. Bye.